So I'll request Dr. Nagendra Chauhan to show his case and how he dealt with that nightmare and came out of the problem.
Good morning, Dr. Khanna, and it's a pleasure to be here, and I want to thank you for organizing such a wonderful conference. It's so much informative in terms of TAVR and percutaneous treatment of structural heart disease. I will show a few complications, 2 cases. As we all know that once you are going for these kind of difficult cases that Chandra was showing, you will end up into some kind of complications once in a while. And you have to learn from that, that's most important. So this was a case, this was a very old case, 2014, 63-year-old male, was 157 kg, chronic smoker, came in NYHA class 4, diabetic, COPD, on steroids, and CKD also. Echo done showed a bicuspid aortic valve with severe aortic stenosis and moderate aortic regurgitation. EF of 30% and severe PH. Annular size on echo was 8. Angiography was normal. So 1 year back, echo was absolutely normal, and this time this came down because of this severe aortic stenosis. Because of multiple comorbidities, surgeons have refused because of his weight, COPD, and other issues. Surgeons were not ready. So he was referred for non-surgical treatment by our surgical team. So we have done a CT scan. This was initial time, and we have, I think, 3-4 years back. So the shortest diameter was 27.8 and longest was 31.4. At that time, in India, we have only core valve available. You can see the measurements. So the perimeter is quite big. Annulus is also quite big. Otherwise, everything else is fine. So as per the guidelines at that point of time, any perimeter more than 91 is not an indication, but this was more than that. Any area more than 660 was not an indication, but this was quite high. So they have recommended not to go for it. But as there was no other option, and this was taken as a life-saving measure. Discussion again done with surgical team and cardiology team, and heart team discussion. Patient was also discussed that risk is there. An emergency, we may have to go for surgery and the outcome may not be good. But finally decided that we have to go for it. So I will not go into details. I will just go into the case. You can see here, this is the positioning. So at that time, because NVAS was so big, we were not knowing how to go ahead. So we were worried about pop out. So we have not done a pre-dilatation in this case at that point of time. So you can see now here, once we have not done a pre-dilatation, the valve is actually not opening. So the annulus is so tight that it's not opening. And once we are trying to position it very accurately, it suddenly popped out. So that was the first time we have seen this. So till now, I think more than 300 cases. After that, we have seen 2 more pop-outs. But this was the most disastrous for us because this was the first time this happened. Luckily, the last end was attached to the shaft. So we have pulled it back because we don't want it to be stuck at the carotid level. And we were not very sure because the ascending aorta is quite dilated. So we have tried to pull it in the descending aorta. And we could achieve this. And once it was in descending aorta, then we are sure that now it's in a safe location. It will not cause any harm. So then we have taken another balloon stent. We have done a pre-dilatation this time and taken another stent, the core valve, and then deployed it. And you can see here it was grossly constrained, but we could able to do it, and we have done a post-dilatation and achieved a good result. And 2 years follow-up was quite good. Gradients are significantly low. Ejection fraction improved. NYHA class also improved. So this was first pop-out. Another case is 82-year-old male, chronic smoker, NYHA class C, diabetic. Again, high mortality. EC, this is a low flow, low gradient AS with moderate AR. And you can see this. Actually, the calcium is very low, but the surgical very high risk. So the surgeons were not ready. Because of financial constraints, femurs were good, so we are not worried about this. So femur, because of financial constraints, this was initially Hydra valve was going under trial at that time. We have taken that. So the recommendation for this is, although annulus diameter is slightly small, because this is a self-funding valve, they want to put a bigger size valve. So they have recommended and consider the maximum diameter 29 Hydra valve. And this is the way of positioning it. You can see the positioning here. Very slow deployment. The is quite okay here. Very slow deployment with pacing. And you can see the pigtail is a very good position, just 3 mm below. But as soon as we deployed it fully, it jumped down. You can see this was the initial and this is now. So this jumped down significantly, and this was almost coming into the mitral wall, touching mitral wall. So at that time, there were only two options, either to go for a snare or for surgery. We thought we could do away with snare. So we started with the snare. So we have taken only one snare at that time. That again was quite old case. Now they say, if you take two snares, chance of pop out are much more. But if you take just one snare, chance of pulling it is very difficult. We have taken just one, but ultimately we could not control it and it popped out and stuck in the ascending aorta. So that also is a good place to land if valve is stuck in the ascending aorta and not impinging into the carotid vessels. So another valve was taken. Once you're going with another valve, there was the issue that this initial valve was also going in, so this has to be snared, and then the valve was positioned. So you can see here that now the valve is very well positioned, and it is, I think, because of the first valve, it has stuck somewhere, so it's not going further down. We have taken a smaller valve this time. And it is very important here that once you are putting two valves, they should not be very close. There should be some in between space from where coronaries could be filled, because this part of the valve is again a covered thing and the lower part is covered. So there is some in between part where there should be uncovered portion of the valve should be there. So from where the blood can go to coronary. So that was a very important point in this case, that we were making sure that this valve should not come down very low and completely seal the ascending aorta and will prevent coronaries from filling. So with this, lessons learned from this, first is in bicuspid, we have learned at that time there was no indication for BAV because they were saying that stroke rates were high, but we started with BAV in bicuspid at that time. Definitely high implants are preferred. Pacing at higher rate with slow deployment was the dictum now. If valve appear deformed, post-Radisson is a must. If the gradient is more than 15, like in this case, it was looking like constrained in one view. But after post-Radisson, it behaved very well. In second case, again, if you take oversize and calcium is very low, slipping is very common. You have to snare, but chances of pop out are there if the valve is very low, because then skirt is very low, it will cause paravalvular AR, and which can't be controlled by any other means. Putting another valve, you have to be worried about coronary occlusion. And once you are snaring it, the first valve should be snared when you are putting the second valve, so that you should not occlude the coronaries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nagin. That was really wonderful, two pop-outs, and how you managed it very successfully.